Hello everyone and welcome back to another Battlefield 3 weapon guide. Today we're going to take a look at the heavyweight from the support category, the M60E4. The M60 is one of the last LMGs you unlock after racking up a support score of 130,000. So let's get started and take a look at some of the M60's general stats. The M60 is one of the higher damage LMGs, with its damage figures coming out at 34, dropping off to 22 at long range. Not only are these damage figures higher than the lower power LMGs, but these higher power machine guns also reach out 10 meters further. With high damage comes a fair bit of recoil, although the M60 doesn't have the highest recoil profiles from all the LMGs. It's got a fair bit of upwards kick at 0.6 and pretty moderate side-to-side recoil values of 0.2. Like with most of the LMGs, the capacity is 100 rounds thanks to that large box magazine, and this can be extended further up to 200 rounds with the help of extended mags, which we'll talk about later. And one of the features that makes the M60 so recognisable in these computer games is its rate of fire always comes out as the slowest, and in Battlefield 3 that rate of fire is 580 rounds per minute. That combination of slow rate of fire plus that huge magazine size, especially with extended mags, means you can send out never-ending suppressive fire. And I just can't help but either scream like Rambo or do an El Presidor style impression when I'm using this thing. In my opinion, the M60 kind of defines the support kit in that it's that mammoth LMG that does a great job of sending out suppressive fire or holding down a position while deployed on a bipod. Because of that pretty moderate recoil and slow rate of fire, it's really not a weapon you want to be running and gunning with, unlike some of the other LMGs which are kind of like assault rifles on steroids. The M60 is a true heavyweight LMG at heart. Because of that slow rate of fire, I often found that even if I open fire first, I'd still end up being the one that drops down dead, leaving the enemy player with 1 or 2% health. You'll also find that suppression plays a big role with that slow rate of fire, and you'll often see your shots miss entirely despite your crosshairs being directly on the bad guy. So all in all, the M60 is really one of those weapons that you need to slow your game down with and take on that traditional support role. So to do this, let's take a look at my recommendations of configuration for getting the best out of your M60. The eyesights on this weapon aren't too bad and they're pretty cool to use on their own, but there's nothing like an optic just to help with your overall accuracy and picking off targets at long range. One of the first low zoom optics you get is the holographic sight after 50 kills, and that larger window and the little dot in the middle of the crosshair makes it really easy to pick off people at long range. For the primary accessory, like with all LMGs, you've got the choice of the bipod or the foregrip, and you get the bipod by default. With the M60 having that pretty moderate recoil as well as that slow rate of fire and being pretty tailored to that traditional support role, where the bipod is really the best option for the primary slot. You really want to make sure you're playing pretty tactically and make sure you set up in your positions before the bad guys come into any choke points. Then with the bipod deployed, you can send out all those shots with virtually no recoil and get those really nice streams of kills popping up on screen. Even if I was using the M60 while being more mobile, I'd still make a point of dropping down prone and deploying the bipod whenever I saw someone on the minimap, simply because there's a major difference between using the bipod and having virtually no recoil and trying to tame the recoil while using this weapon while in a standing position. Then finally, because suppressive fire is really what the M60 excels at, extended mags is your best choice for attachment slot number 2. You get extended mags after 30 kills and it increases your magazine size up to 200 rounds, which, like I mentioned, with that slow rate of fire is enough to send out continuous fire over a couple of full minutes. Being a box magazine fed weapon also means you've got those painfully slow reload times, with the M60 clocking in at 7.2 seconds, so the extended mags is just going to make it longer before you have to sit back and take yourself out of the action. So that's about it for my guide to the M60E4 in Battlefield 3. I think this could be my favourite LMG out of the support kit, but let me know down in the comments which your favourite LMG is. Are you a fan of these mammoth machine guns, or do you prefer the lower power but more mobile LMGs? If you've just stumbled across this video, don't forget you can also subscribe to stick around for plenty more of my Battlefield 3 weapon guides, or you can check out the link to the playlist down in the description to see my reviews on the other weapons in game. If you want to make sure you don't miss any future uploads, then give me a follow on Twitter or Facebook, as I always post links to new videos on those accounts. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.